want to share with you some words of Scripture. You know, from the beginning to the end, there's an invitation to honor difference. That is, different tribes, different individuals, different ways of being. And I found a selection that I'd like to share with you as I think about Winnie the Pooh today and what we're going to do in that exploration. Hear these words of Paul, who talks about the different parts of the body. For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. For by one Spirit we are all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks or slaves or free, all are made to drink of the same Spirit of God. For the body does not consist of one member, but of many. If the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it easy to be part of that body. And if the ear should say, because I'm not an eye, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it easy any less to be part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But as it is with God, God's arranged all the organs of the body, each of the one as God chooses. If all were a single organ, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, yet one body. The eye can't say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. On the contrary, the parts of the body which seem to be weaker or dispensable, those are also parts of the body, each presentable, each part of one body, the body of Christ. Amen. So I'm doing something in the summer which takes about 4 hours, but we're going to do it in 20 minutes, and I have my phone on to let me know. You have before you the characters of the forest of Winnie the Pooh. And you may have got a handout now, I don't know, but I'm going to talk a bit about the Enneagram. And you may know this already. You can daydream for 20 minutes. I'll wake you up when we come to the final hymn. It's really important, the Enneagram, because it helps us understand ourselves better. And the way faith works is the better you understand yourself, the less desire there is to fix somebody else. It's about being yourself. So I'm going to look at the Enneagram, and each of the members of the forest have a different number. And so do you. So you may have got a sheet. I don't know if you got one now or not, but you could scribble on your hand if you want, because I'm going to invite you to see 9 personalities. And what the Enneagram looks at is what's motivating you, okay? We all have motivations. And so this is looking at what motivates you in your life. This is not to put you in a box so that you can Enneagram everyone else. It's simply to invite you to see the 9 energies. There's a light and a shadow to each one of us. We have a beautiful side. We also have a side that's darker, a shadow side. And the better we understand ourselves, the better we are in the world. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. I'm going to invite you to get the bottom one in particular, Enneagram Institute. If you leave today with nothing else, go with the fact that there's more to learn. And the Enneagram Institute is the place you go. Next slide. There they are. And you're going to think I'm crazy, and maybe I am. But I want you to understand the Enneagram types, and then you can decide which one you're most like. The Enneagram has its roots in both Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and it looks at what motivates the different personalities that are in the garden or in the pews on a Sunday morning. The idea is to come to our truest self. What motivates me in my life, and how do I make that happen? I've got a stack of books here. You're welcome to look. Please don't steal. Later on, about Enneagramming your workplace, Enneagramming your boss, your spiritual life, your love life, your parenting life. And these books are based on the 9 different energies, and they invite us to understand ourselves better and ourselves in the world. So let's look at number 1 and the energies. Number 1, start with the reformer or the perfectionist. If you look at Winnie the Pooh, there's a rabbit that is the one that reforms. Ones are perfectionists. They want to change the world. They want to make sure that things get done right, and often a finger is involved in that. Not in a nasty way, but just an invitation to change the world. They're rational, they're idealistic, they're principled and self-controlled, and they're a perfectionist. You see, in Winnie the Pooh, the rabbit is the one who exhibits these qualities that seem like bossiness as they're preoccupied with order, trying to get things right. Enneagram 1s by country would be England or Switzerland. And the people who are 1s in the Enneagram are Julie Andrews, Hillary Clinton, or Harrison Ford. Are you a lot like the reformer? Do you want to get things right? Do you want things perfect? The challenge for 1s is that they have an inner critic. They're challenging themselves and the world to be different. They can be very hard on themselves as they seek to change the world. That is the rabbit in the Winnie the Pooh story. We're going to move to the second, Kanga. Kanga is the 2, the helper. 2s are the ones who, when there's something to be done and you need help, they're the best ones to have around. They're caring and generous. They're attentive to the needs of others over their own needs. They're kind-hearted and nurturing like Kanga. And these 2s are very, very helpful. If you're in trouble, a 2 will step in and help. Sometimes they help without asking. All they really want, though, is some sense of acknowledgement that they're a helper. So they're caring, they're interpersonal, they're demonstrative, generous, people-pleasing, and quite possessive folks. The country that is a 2 energy is Italy. The people that they say have 2 energy are Celine Dion or Mother Teresa. Do you get a sense of how Kanga might be in the story of who this is? We'll move now to number 3s. 3s are the achievers. They're the ones that, when they were kids, were always trying to get medals, trying to get awards. They knew that if they succeeded and received something, that they were doing things right. They're success-oriented, they're motivated, they're self-conscious, and they want to look good in the world. While we don't see much Gopher in the Pooh stories, we know that he is hard worker who occasionally is boastful and seeks approval, and he sure doesn't want to fail. The country that is typically known as a 3 is the United States of America. Image is important. So is China, also a 3. Interesting world we're living in, right? When you have 3 energies. So the people who are 3s in the forest or in the world are Oprah Winfrey. Get this for the guys, Tiger Woods or Lance Armstrong. The idea to achieve, to win, to succeed is a very important energy. And a 3 energy is that kind of action-oriented. The 4th is Eeyore. Eeyore is called the individualist. He's sometimes sensitive, often withdrawn. He's expressive and dramatic and sometimes self-absorbed and quite temperamental. Eeyore is one of the ones that lots of kids love. He's an individualist, he's sensitive and introspective. He's got a longing and a melancholy about him, Eeyore does. He embodies the 4 energy, but sometimes feels, pessimistic. Sometimes he has a sense of low self-esteem. But he's deeply emotional and honest about who he is. When you got a problem, a 4 will sit with you and sit with you and sit with you. They are deeply committed one to another to help another and to listen. They say that France is a 4. That Kate Bush or Judy Garland are a 4. As we move up on the other side of the wheel, there's the observer, the owl. Just use that image. They're up in the trees looking down, observing. 5s are the investigators, and they're known as observers. They often stay in their head, or attic dwellers, some people call them attic dwellers. They're cerebral, they're perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. Sometimes their happiest place is the basement with the computer. 5s are those who love knowledge, who think with their head and want to advance in the world by their sense of knowledge. Sometimes the owl fits the absent-minded professor type because they're all about thinking and all about knowledge. They say that Finland's the country, and Einstein, Neil Young, and Stephen Hawking were 5. Can you see that? How they would be that kind of owl-like creature. 5s are those who dwell in the understanding and pursuit of knowledge, motivated to learn and learn and learn and learn and learn. 6 is the loyalist. Sometimes they're called troubleshooters. They know trouble's coming before it happens. They're committed, they're security-oriented, responsible, and anxious. 6s are like Piglet. You can see them scurrying around, paying attention, looking at what's coming, what the problem is. They're very loyal to their tribe, to their family, to their friends, but they can always see when trouble's going to come. They're prone to worry, and to be driven by a deep need for security to get things right. 6s are insightful and loyal, but they're sometimes suspicious. Piglet demonstrates a 6 vigilance and fearlessness, as well as the loyalty and courage found in healthy 6s. They say that Germany has a 6 energy. So does Mary Tyler Moore and David Letterman. 6s are deeply loyal, but they're also quite fearful. I reckon lots of churches have a 6 energy. I'm not sure about that. Fearful. Okay, moving to 7. I don't know about you, but 7 was always been my favorite. I'm a 7 wannabe. I wish I was a 7. They're an enthusiast. They're busy, fun-loving type. They're spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. They bounce from thing to thing to thing to thing, and they love to bounce from one activity to another. Rarely are they stationary. They're adventurous. They're enthusiasts. It was Tigger's obvious embodiment of the 7 energy that makes him such a 7 zealous, committed person. In the 100-acre wood, he's always looking for the next thing coming along. And 7s are fun-loving, energetic. The country, they say, is Brazil. The people, and this makes sense when you think of a 7, is Robin Williams. Wasn't he like that? His humor, his fun, his bouncing. Another 7 is Britney Spears or Tom Hanks. You can see the 7 energy. 2 more to go. As we move up the circle, there's people who are motivated to be the challenger or the leader, and they're powerful and they're dominating type. You know when you're with an 8, they've got energy oozing out of their body. They're confident, decisive, and willful. Now, in the 100-acre forest, people couldn't figure out quite who 8 was, but some say maybe it was a really healthy Christopher Robin. The one who works with his team to make things happen. They're challengers. They crave power. Sometimes they're willful or confrontational. They can also exhibit positive traits of strength, of self-confidence, and very decisive. Sometimes people say they're like a bull in a china shop, but you're really glad they're there when things go wrong because they're always looking out for the underdog. They say, although I don't really know about this, but Donald Trump might be an 8. Or let's move from him to Johnny Cash. That's the kind of energy you have in an 8, a Johnny Cash. And the country, they say, is Italy. That kind of in-your-face, out-there energy is an 8. They're motivated to change and make change happen. The final is Winnie the Pooh. And they say that Winnie the Pooh is a 9. Easygoing, self-effacing, receptive, reassuring, agreeable, and somewhat complacent. You'll notice in the 100-acre forest in his house, he's always up for a break, always up for some honey. He sets his clock at 5 to 11 so that he can always have a break at 11. He's a peacemaker. They're thoughtful and friendly and agreeable. And Winnie the Pooh demonstrates the 9's optimism. He's complacent, naive, and innocent. 9s are known as the crown of the Enneagram because they're able to have all these energies sometimes at the same time. Laid back, can be lazy, simple. They say Canada is a 9. They also say Obama, Gandhi, and Anne Murray were 9s. And your minister happens to be a 9. So what I'd like you to do is just take a look at this. And if you got the scale in your pew, that's fine. If you didn't, which energy do you think you have? You can't tell anyone else. That's the main deal. It's not a tool to say, you're such a 3. You're not a 4, you're a 7. Nope. Self-disclosure, you pick yourself. I want you just to look at this and say, I believe I'm motivated most like number 7, or I'm motivated most like number 5. I can give you 10 seconds to do this. It takes 10 years, but I'll give you 10 seconds. Which energy do you think you have? Maybe you want to look at your mother-in-law. Maybe you want to look at your boss or your kids. The thing I want to say about this is I invite you into a very brief conversation is that this Enneagram saves lives, saves marriages, saves workplaces. Because the better we understand ourselves, the better we are in the world. Okay, so I'm going to invite you with the people around you, if you're willing, just to say, I identify most with, and tell them why, okay? This is your 3-minute conversation. I'll invite you to hear some music. Who do you identify with and why? Okay, thank you. So, I just want you, don't mind if you go back, Toby, to the Enneagram Institute, okay? Just go back to the previous slide. One more. Okay, see where it says Enneagram Institute. If you, later this afternoon, Google that up, Enneagram Institute, you can do a quiz if you want. We do this inventory with people we're marrying because we recognize when you're getting married, you've got to know yourself first and then the partner you're marrying. But if you go to the Enneagram Institute, you can do a quiz and you can do the Riso Hudson 9 types. But you can also type in Enneagram Institute and get a thought for the day, and you'll get 3 sentences a day. When you get the 3 sentences to your number, if I type in 9 and I get my 3 sentences, some days I want to throw my phone. I'm like, who's been watching my life? And sometimes it's the most challenging or loving way to understand ourselves. So if you go to the Enneagram Institute, do that quiz, get your number, and then every day on your phone or your computer, you'll get a little thought for the day. And it's a really helpful tool. don't go around trying to peg everybody. Peg yourself. Okay? Peg yourself first. Okay? Hi, Gary. Yeah, you want to peg yourself. Understand yourself. And when you understand yourself most fully, you'll move in the world. You'll see the energies in a meeting. When I got to this church and we began to move and grow and change, it was a lot of 7 energy 12, 15 years ago. Lots of 7 energy. And we go through different kinds of energies. You might say the Lent season is a more 4 energy, where we're more reflective or contemplative. Anyway, I'm giving you like a speck of sand and something that's a lifetime to understand. I have been trained in it, I understand it, and I'm just a beginner. And I want to share some of that with you as we looked at Winnie the Pooh and the natural ability to see all these different characters that are in your story and my story, in this church, in your workplace, in the community, and we need them all. And you might be sitting there saying, well, which one's Jesus? I don't know, but I'm going to call him a 10. Okay? If you follow the life of Jesus, and there's lots of times he's a confronter and a challenger. Sometimes he's an individualist. Sometimes he sounds like a perfectionist. Jesus, I believe, had all 10 energies. Now, the gift of all of this, my friends, is that we take time to be our better self, our truest self. Not trying to fix everybody around us, but pay attention to who we are. And we have to realize that when we do that, we are being more graceful, less judgmental, more open, more accepting of diversity and difference, and appreciating the difference of all. And so when I think of that, I think